Well, for now, a couple of stocks are hitting new highs in the broader markets. Pidilite is one stock that has had a very smooth run. In fact, it's gained almost 17% this year. And today it's sitting at a fresh high. Look at that high point of trade right now as well. In fact, the Pidilite stock is really in focus as the market cap of the company has also zoomed substantially. So currently, if you look at it, it's sitting at a new high. Market cap is almost 70,000 crores for Pidilite. So looking pretty solid there. A couple of other stocks, Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Finance, Godrej Properties, are also names that are hitting fresh highs in trade today. So the momentum is good, but the big event to watch out for tomorrow is the Reserve Bank of India meeting to announce its rate decision. And as growth concerns weigh, the clamour for a rate cut is growing. In fact, there are some people who believe that there could be a chance of a 50 basis points rate cut as well. Ritu Singh joins in to give us all the expectations. Ritu.
It looks like the Reserve Bank of India is set to cut rates for the second consecutive time, given the continued downward surprises on retail inflation front, broadly anchored commodity prices, subdued domestic growth indicators, and a benign global monetary policy backdrop. Now, all the respondents to the CNBC-TV18 poll expect a 25 basis point rate cut from the MPC in its first bi-monthly monetary policy. 60% of the respondents, in fact, go on to say that including the April policy, the RBI will cut repo rates by 50 basis points through the calendar year, and a handful even expect rates to be cut by 75 basis points in 2019. On the growth front, the respondents largely expect the projections to be lowered. This is because of the high-frequency indicators continuing to point towards a cyclical slowdown and lower private consumption, which is likely to keep domestic growth muted. Now, 73% expect the 7.3% forecast for Q3 FY20 as well as the 7.2 to 7.4% range for the first half of FY20 to be lowered. On the retail inflation front, which continues to be below the 4% targeted by the RBI, in fact, in the last reading, it was below 3% even. Here, the expectation is that the inflation projections may not be lower just yet, especially with monsoons round the corner, which could significantly impact the food prices. Therefore, 60% of our respondents expect the 3.2 to 3.4% projection for CPI inflation for the first half of FY20 to be left unchanged, and 80% expect the Q3 forecast to also be left unchanged. Now, as core inflation has remained sticky, that is the problem that continues to mount. Now, the stance of the RBI is also expected to be maintained in the neutral mode, and the tone could be more or less similar or more dovish compared to the last policy, given the growth and inflation dynamics.
All right, thanks Ritu for getting us a heads up on what's expected from the monetary policy meeting tomorrow. In fact, 4 out of 5 members of the CNBC-TV18 Citizens Monetary Policy Panel have voted in favour of a cut ahead of the RBI's rate decision tomorrow.
First, that question to you, Sajid, the cut or pause, and if it's a cut, how much?
25 basis point cut in our view.
Okay. All right. Okay. We need to see your board as well. Samiran, what are you expecting?
25 basis
25 basis rate cut. Okay. Sonal?
Yeah, 25 basis point rate cut.
Okay. Fine. Shaumyo, what are you expecting?
We're expecting a 25
basis cut. Okay. Chairman, sir, would you disagree?
Yes, I would.
Yes. Okay, well, the chairman has a reputation of calling the market, calling the MPC right in the past, even when he is in a minority. Sajid, how many rate cuts are you expecting through 2019, counting April? 25, 50, 75?
Yes, including April, it would be 25 at most 50 basis points.
Okay. Well, Samiran?
It's 50.
50 basis. So April and one more cut. Sonal?
Yeah, 50 basis points.
50 and one more cut in the future. Shaumyo?
50 BPS, but with a possibility of an upward bias if growth doesn't pick up.
But you are expecting the 50 to come on April itself?
That will depend on the rate stance.
Okay.
So that's an...
Dr. Sen, how much of a rate, how many basis points will rates fall in 2019? 50 basis. Okay, there is unanimity over here that a half a percentage point rate cut through 2019, only on April 4th itself, 4:1, the expectation is of a 25 basis cut.
Okay, so The consensus is a 25 basis points rate cut. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But Jet Airways, the crisis deepens as the company's fleet continues to shrink. 15 more aircrafts have now been grounded due to non-payment of dues. And with that, Jet Airways' domestic operations now comprises of just 12 planes, making it the smallest operating pan-India airline. Anu Sharma is here to give us more details. Anu.
Well, the latest development in Jet Airways is that 15 aircraft have been grounded on non-payment of lease rentals, further reducing the active fleet size of the airline. Remember, last week, Jet Airways had informed the Aviation Ministry that it had 35 planes in operations and had claimed that there would be no further groundings. Also, yesterday, we learned from aircraft tracking websites and from government sources that the airline had 28 to 29 planes in operations till yesterday afternoon. So it remains unclear whether the active fleet count is 20 or 14. We are yet to hear from the regulator DGCA on the matter. We also learned from sources that lenders are set to hold a meeting in Delhi on April 4th, that is tomorrow, on the interim funding plan for the airline, because sources tell us that so far the lenders have been unable to reach a consensus on which ones among them will provide this sum. In fact, some banks are not willing to provide any more loans to the airline. Sources tell us that SBI was to inject funds worth rupees 530 crore rupees, and the remaining sum of 970 crore rupees was expected from other lenders. So before any of the two resolution plans that have been chalked out for the airline take off, doubts still remain on the emergency funding required to keep the airline afloat. Back to you.
All right, thanks Anu for getting us all those details. No resolution in sight and the crisis deepens for Jet Airways. In fact, take a look at Suzlon as well. And there were some flashes on the screen on how the rating agencies have downgraded this particular company. And that is on account of either delay or default in servicing debt. That's a very, very serious issue coming in for Suzlon Energy. That stock has been knocked down by 3.5% and it's already at 6.5 rupees per share. Remember, in the recent past, if we look at the 1 month chart, we'll see how that stock had really gone up on the buzz of a new investor coming in. In fact, that's the need of the hour for this particular company. So keep an eye out on Suzlon. But there are many other stocks which are really making the headlines today. Anisha Jain is right here with all the details. Anisha.
I'll start with the oil marketing companies that are coming under pressure. Remember, crude has moved around 35% higher in this year already, and we are seeing a reaction as far as the oil marketing companies go. Other than that, iShares has been in focus for the last couple of days. Nomura has actually downgraded the stock today to reduce. They've cut the target price and say that the demand scenario remains challenging. Moving on to Tata Motors, wherein they have reported some sequential improvement in the JLR US sales. Now, the US sales have gone up by around 14%, but do remember, China has been the pain point, so we'll wait for that number to come in through. Kamdhenu Limited is in focus because they have completed commissioning of a new plant, and that means the production capacity has gone up, and that stock was reacting positively, up around in double digits. Midhani, which is Mishra Dhatu Nigam, is also in focus because they talk about the order book, which is around 1,700 odd crores versus 520 crore reported last year. And keep an eye out on Raymond as well. There was a strategic announcement that they were going to make today. Looks like they are developing 20 acres out of the 125-acre land in Thane. So keep an eye out on that one as well.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Anisha. So those were the stocks in focus. But moving on, Magma FinCorp has launched its maiden NCD issue to raise 500 crores. The aim is to diversify the company's funding mix. Listen into what the management has to say on the impact of the slowdown in the commercial vehicle market.
Our thrust is actually on the asset quality, which has dramatically improved in the last 3 years. And therefore, if, for example, the sale of commercial vehicles goes down or the sale of passenger vehicles goes down, we would not be too much paranoid about it, and we would rather grow our exposure in the used vehicle segment or in the construction equipment segment, a sector which has of late been doing quite well. So therefore, that way we will pivot our portfolio towards the segment where there is a greater degree of demand rather than take undue risk.
All right, on that note, let's take a quick break on Business Lunch. But coming up, as we count down to the mega general elections with the first phase polling really starting on 11th of April, we get you a mood check from Western UP in our special series, Election Caravan. Stay tuned for that.